In this video, we will look at Yaoshan, which is traditional Chinese medicinal cuisine and its trajectory since its first mention in the Eastern Han Dynasty until its popularization and peak in late imperial China, specifically during the last Han Chinese dominated dynasty, the Ming Dynasty. Through the study of early Chinese materia medica, dietary and medicinal texts, as well as court and historical records, we will trace the origins of Yaoshan and its institutionalization throughout the history of imperial China. Before we delve into the history of Yaoshan, we have to first establish that the term has to be distinguished from the better-known term and bigger category 食疗, which means dietary therapy, or as Chinese scholar Zheng Jingsheng coins it, dietary therapy serves more to supplement drug therapy in the treatment of illnesses and to accelerate recovery. While on the other hand, Yaoshan is generally linked to the theory of Yaoshan in its incorporation of conventional medicines and foods into dishes, serving to regulate one's bodily function, thereby maintaining or improving one's health. The first appearance of the words Yao and Shan mentioned together can be traced back to the 后汉书列女传. The exact text read, 母亲调药膳，私情笃蜜. In translation, it says, the mother prepared Yaoshan for the family, whom she misses dearly and cares deeply for. We see from this that in the earliest available record of Yaoshan, it was prepared out of love and care for a dear one. In the 吕氏春秋本味篇, we see the first conception of the theory of Yaoshan. From an excerpt in the text, it was suggested to combine ginger and osmanthus, both with the pungent warm thermostatic quality, into a broth to treat a common cold. The broth can be considered as a dish to fill the stomach, but it was also valued for its medicinal properties, which reminds us of the characteristics of Yaoshan. Although it was not yet institutionalized in the time of writing, it was already a concept practiced by the people. Due to prior lack of knowledge on the theory of medicinal ingredients and their effects when incorporated into diet, Yaoshan only began to be institutionalized in the Tang Dynasty, when knowledge had become more established, as can be seen in the 食疗本草 published by Meng Shen in the Tang Dynasty, in which medicinal qualities of ingredients as well as recipes and preparation methods were recorded. Later on in the Song Dynasty, in the Song Shi Zhang Guan Zhuan, it read 早起奉药膳. In translation, it means medicinal cuisine as flea treatment, which focuses more on the medicinal effects of Yaoshan rather than familial ties. This also puts Yaoshan into the wider category of 食疗, for being valued more for its medicinal properties. We see from this quote that Yaoshan moved from a simple household dish with a literal meaning in the Han Dynasty to begin to be institutionalized as a cuisine by the Song Dynasty. Also, during the Song Dynasty, we see the advent of foot block printing and movable type printing, allowing the wider spread and dissemination of material medical texts, and as a result, medical theory became more accessible to the wider public. To note is the increased accessibility of material medical texts with illustrations, allowing easier recognition of the material medical in question for the wider public to find and incorporate the ingredients into dishes and in their diets. Since the popularization of Yaoshan in the Tang Dynasty and its subsequent spread in the Song Dynasty, interest in the cuisine and its development saw the publication of the In Shan Zheng Yao in the Yuan Dynasty by Hu Sihui, a court dietary physician, in which in the text he puts focus on the nutritional aspects of the emperor's diet. The contents of the In Shan Zheng Yao included recipes with a heavy focus on a balanced diet as well as longevity, and further instructions on what foods to avoid or not to combine, often quoting materials from earlier material medical texts or from the pool of general knowledge of medical theories. The text was later reprinted 130 years later during the Ming Dynasty for the importance of the text in its legacy in early Chinese herbal medicine traditions and dietary traditions. By the time of the Ming Dynasty, medical theory had become more established, and along with it came the popular appetite for medical texts. The Ming and Qing dynasties following the Yuan dynasty then saw the peak of Yaoshan, where almost every material medical text from the period paid attention to the medicinal ingredients used in diets, as we can see in the 本草纲目 published by Li Shizhen in the late Ming dynasty. Since the Zhou dynasty, we see the establishment of the first dietary bureau, the 食医, in the imperial court, and this is according to the Zhou Li Tianguan Zhongzai. When it came to the Ming dynasty, 3 separate bureaus were in charge of the emperor's diet. They were the Guanglu Si, headed by court officials, Shang Shan Jian, headed by eunuchs, and the Shang Shi Ju, headed by female officials. According to the Ming dynasty text, 宫廷笃记, The Guanglusu was responsible for drafting the menu for the 3 meals each day and present it to be approved by the emperor. After the emperor approved the menu, they will send it to the Shangshanjian to be prepared, and at mealtime, the female officials from the Shangshiju will then present the dishes to the emperor. During the early days of the Ming Dynasty, it was recorded that the court employed more than 9,400 kitchen servants, which gradually decreased to about 3,400 in the later part of the dynasty. It is to note here that the female officials of the Shangshiju were not only responsible for serving meals to the emperor, but we can also see from the highest positions that they held, including the Shangshi, Sishan, Siyun, Siyao, Sixi, and Shiyi, that it was also their duty to manage all affairs related to the diet of the emperor, including the meals and preparation of the meals, the emperor's consumption of liquor, and the emperor's use of foods with medicinal properties, as well as other duties. From this, we see the emphasis on diet in the Ming Imperial Court, explaining the incentives for Ming Imperial dietitians to focus on mastering and developing their culinary skills and knowledge, and for some to actually specialize in Yaoshan to further develop the cuisine. Given that medicinal theory had also become more established by the time of the Ming Dynasty, the complete institutionalization of Yaoshan became more possible, especially within the Ming Imperial Court, which specialized functions like the Siyao and Shiyi. Many kitchen staff across the different bureaus responsible for the emperor's diet were also known to be relatively knowledgeable on the medicinal effects of ingredients and frequently incorporated medical theories into their preparation of food. Earlier medical texts like the Shi Liao Ben Cao from the Tang Dynasty and the In Sheng Zheng Yao from the Yuan Dynasty was also heavily referenced by the imperial dietitians of the Ming Dynasty as they further developed Yaoshan. Throughout the Ming Dynasty, more than 30 Chinese texts with regards to the medicinal properties of food were published, of which, besides the Ben Cao Gang Mu, which was a material medical paying attention to the medicinal properties of ingredients, other more popular works like the In Shi Xu Zhi, In Shi Shu, Sui Yuan Shi Dan, Sui Si Ju, In Shi Pu, and others focused on documenting Yaoshan recipes and their nutritive effects. Through this video, we see the first combination of two originally foreign words come together to become institutionalized as a cuisine, with factors like the development and propagation of materia medica, the advent of printing, and the subsequent stabilization of known medical theories, together with forces like the emperor and the imperial court as well as the wider public who contributed to its popularization. These all come together to contribute to a 2,000-year-long process of the institutionalization of Yaoshan as a cuisine.